and start. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know I'm expecting some additional people to go ahead and join. And with that, when they do join, that'll be great. But I want to just tell you first and foremost that I'm so appreciative of your time of being here. So I'm not going to be before you long. So as they join in, we'll welcome them, or I might welcome them. But I am going to make sure that I give you as much information as possible and try to also give you so much value as we move forward. So just know that that's where my heart is, and hopefully that comes across on the screen as well. All right. Well, let me just start off by saying I do recognize that the current situation that we're in with everyone staying at home and with the coronavirus and with people having to deal with differences in their finances and changes that are coming through, that is causing some concern or some confusion, if you would. And so, hold on, I think that's my phone at the moment. I'm gonna have to turn that on silent. So thanks for that. Okay, what I wanted to let you know though is that I do recognize that the current situation poses some issues for some as it relates to finances, probably a whole lot of people. And so I am not unaware of that. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to be able to offer something that was going to be helpful as well as impactful in today's day and age. I don't know if you know much about me, but I will say this, that I am obsessed with being able to help believers live an abundant life. And I want to do that, and I'm not sure if that's where you are. I'm hoping that's where you are as well. And most of us want to live the life that Jesus died for each and every one of us to have. So I understand the current situation, but what I also recognize is that our mindset is so important. The Bible says that as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And so I wanted to give us a little bit of hope and a little bit of encouragement as we move forward, okay? But let me say this, if you want to go ahead and type messages in the chat, because I'm trying to keep it to 30 minutes and I've got a lot of information that I want to give you, go ahead and put those questions in the chat and I promise I will answer them. I don't know if I'll be able to answer them on this particular call, only because I'm trying to look at it. I don't have an administrative assistant right now that I'm looking at it at the same time as I'm actually recording this. But go ahead and do that if you would as we go through. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever looked in the mirror and recognized that you're not where you really wanted to be financially, that something has changed? It could be this current situation, or it could be some other things in life have changed and kind of derailed you. And you're not alone if that is the case. You're really not alone if you have gotten to that point where you looked in the mirror and say, hey, I really wanted to be somewhere else at a different position financially. And because I'm not there, you know, you might get a little discouraged with the things that are going on today. You might get discouraged, but I don't want you to be discouraged. I want to encourage you as we start moving forward. And I'm getting excited because I'm seeing more people that I haven't seen in a while come on. Let me just say this. As we look at finances, I want to let you know who I am. It is a little interesting because a lot of you might know a little bit about me, or you might know nothing about me, or nothing really about my background. My original degree is in electrical engineering, and most people, when they look at me, they say, really, that's crazy. Well, engineering simply says that I'm a problem solver. That's the way I look at it. And I think, you know, it's one of my God-given gifts that God has blessed me to be able to see different systems and work around those systems so that I will be able to then help in any situation. And I look for solutions. Well, I graduated from Georgia Tech in 3 years, years ago. And I didn't do that just to say that I had a claim to fame, because the average graduation was in 5 years. I did it because I have a brother that is 2 years behind me. Both my parents were teachers and they struggled. You know, on a teacher's salary, you struggle. But of course, we didn't know about that. We thought everything was gravy. But I did recognize that he was following behind me in 2 years. And if that was going to be the case, both of us would be in school together at the same time for 2 years. And that was going to be a major struggle. But what I also recognize when I say I start thinking about these systems is I recognize that college tuition goes up every single year. And I know it's still going up every single year, regardless. So what I looked at and I said, okay, well, if it's increasing every year, if I could reduce one of those years, I could save that increased amount. Now, I recognize the Pell Grants are not there anymore as it was back in my day, but I still had loans. I had student loans that I was going to need to be paying off. So, in order to do that, what I did was I made sure that I got out in 3 years instead of 4 years in college. That saved my parents that interest or that extra income. And so I'm excited about that. And so that's kind of how I started my journey of looking at the finances and trying to make sure that I did a better job. One of the things that I am really excited about this year is 2020. I said I wanted 2020 vision, but my bigger goal for this year is I wanted to be able to touch 2020 lives and, to change the entire trajectory of the economic footprint that we currently have. I really want to help. And by the end of February, I was a little over 500, had another conference at the beginning of March, and got an opportunity to meet quite a few people to touch their lives as well. But with all of this going on, it has kind of dwindled down as far as the number of people that I can touch. So that's why I'm glad of this virtual ability to be able to come and talk with you and let you know what's going on and give you some tips as to what we can do. But that's just a little bit about me. So my goal is for 2020 people in 2020. I want to help as many as I can. So I've come up with some different things that I'm going to do. But let me start off by giving you some tips on how you can effectively change your current financial situation, little tweaks that you could possibly do. Now, I have been doing some Facebook Lives, and I'll call them Wisdom Highlights. That's what I call them because I've got these highlights and they're not going their way. I earned every single one of them. How's that? But in any event, I've been doing some of those and I've been talking about different things that you can do. So I'm not going to cover those again, but they are available for you as well as some of the blogs. But one of the things that I thought about today, as far as the tip is concerned, is the advantages of automation. Many times when we look at what we're doing, if we really want to grow and we really want to do a better job, it's important for us to either delegate something, eliminate something, or automate it. If we have things that are not really our strengths or things that we can really do a really good job in, we need to be able to delegate it to someone else. If we pay them a lesser amount of our time and our energy and our effort costs something, and we have to recognize that. If it is easier for somebody else to do it because it's more of their expertise, it falls in line with their God-given talents, then let's delegate it to them. Well, usually that's not going to deal with our finances. The other thing, though, is I say we need to eliminate. Now, if there's some fees that are on your accounts or fees that you are paying monthly, and I've talked about this when it comes to the budgeting side, is you need to try to eliminate as many of those fees as possible. One of those that I always talk about is the banking fees, whether it's on your checking account or it's on your savings account. I don't pay anyone to hold my money, and it's very important that you find out what those minimum requirements are, if there are any fees, and then make sure that you meet that requirement so that you don't have to pay it going forward. That's a key for the elimination. But I really wanted to key in on the automation this time because I hadn't really talked about it before. One advantage of you automating your finances, meaning you have a specific bill that is due every single month. If you automate it, you will decrease your late fees because you won't have them any longer. You completely eliminate them, but you'll also increase your credit score. And you'll do it very simply. Now, of course, first and foremost, you're going to need a budget so that you'll know that you'll be able to pay for this and what's there. But you can do it very easily by going to the banks. Your bank, in many instances, has what they call a bill payment plan or bill payment schedule. It's a service that they offer. It doesn't cost you anything additional in most cases, but make sure. And you'll also then end up with a record of who they paid and when they paid you or when you paid them. And that's going to be extremely important for you. because I had a client recently that we were looking at some fees, some legal fees that were coming up against her. And yes, by all means, I know she paid the bills, but we could not find any record of it. So let me just say this now. If you go to AmScot to try to get some money orders or things of that sort, they do not keep a record. So you won't be able to go back. And unfortunately, in her case, she's going to end up having to pay double. I really hate that because I don't think that's fair. However, if you do allow the banks to set up an automated system where you're paying on a regular basis to those different companies, you're going to have a record not only with the bank, but you'll have an email confirmation that's coming to you. Now, one of the other things that I like to say for you to do as well is to go ahead and put it on your phone and put it on monthly so that you get an alert every month or on that particular day of when that bill is going to be due. And when you do that, then you're reminded to go ahead and check in your checking account to make sure that it's coming out, to make sure everything is paid appropriately. Now, if it is like a utility company and it's not a standard amount, you know, you'll have a standard amount with rent or with mortgage. But if it's a utility bill, which is going to vary, in many instances, that utility company is going to allow you to set up automatic payments with them as well, and they will only take out what is necessary. So that's one of my tips, and I want you to go ahead and take advantage of that. Set up those bill pays so that it's coming in on a regular basis. Your late fees will then completely be eliminated because you're going to be paying at the time that it is due. And your credit score is going to increase over time because that's one of the keys that's there. Now, one of the things that, another tip that I wanted to talk about very quickly is what I call goal setting. And I'm hoping most of you already have goals. If you don't have goals, financial goals already set, I'm going to encourage you to do that. There has been a study, actually it was years ago, actual indication where there were students from this Ivy League school, and several of them had written out the goals that they wanted for the end of the year. Now, several of their other classmates in their graduating class did not. They followed up with them some 20 years later to see where they were. And this, the actual information showed that those that had written down their goals were light years ahead of the ones that had not written down a goal at all. I believe that even if you write a goal and you don't achieve it 100%, if you shoot for the moon, you'll fall among the stars. But guess what? God tells us to write the vision and make it plain so that we can run and get to it. I believe that God has the greatest plans for each and every one of us, and I know He's going to come through. And so that's your encouragement, that He's not going to leave you alone. He knows exactly where you are. But He says, if you tell Him, if you ask Him for wisdom, that He will give it to you liberally. But He also wants to make sure that you have a vision for your future. You have a plan that you're going to get to. Yours might be listing, hey, I want to make sure that I automate some services so that I don't have these banking fees. All of that might be in there. Or it might say, hey, I want to get out of debt. That's possible too. I want to give you hope and an encouragement that as you continue to move forward in life, even in the midst of all of what we're going on, that financially you can be free. And I'm excited about that, and I'm excited about helping you. But it is extremely important, as I said, for this particular tip, that you do write down your goals. If you write them, you are more than likely going to achieve them. No matter what they look like. There is, as long as you have a plan that goes along with it. Otherwise, it's just a wish, as my friend says. She says, a goal without a plan is just a wish. But guess what? You can write down a plan and you can get there. God's word gives us all the principles that we need. And if we follow them, everything is going to work out. It might not come when we want it, as quickly as we want it, but in time, we're going to do a great job. Now, you might be saying, you know, with everything that's going on, I feel like I'm starting over. Wonder if anybody feels that way, that, you know, this is an extremely hard time when it comes to finances. Some that I know of have either lost their jobs that they've known about, or they're on less pay, or things are just a little bit different and they have to be creative. And we understand that too. And I'm not going to beat anyone up, because I know I always tell my customers, my clients, to make sure that you have at least 9 months of savings. Yes, and I know that's a lot more than most people say, but it takes typically about 9 months for you to find another job. I'm hoping and I'm prayerful that this particular situation that we're in is going to blow over a lot quicker than most are anticipating. However, if you have a savings and you have that peaceful situation, you got the calm in the midst of the storm, because you recognize that you can continue to move forward. Yes, make adjustments. Yes, pivot as far as your current budget is concerned, but you'll also be at peace knowing that you do have something that you can go to. Those that are truly living paycheck to paycheck are in a more dire situation right now. And I recognize that unemployment is going to be a little bit different. But I'm going to tell you one thing that one of my customers found out as I was talking with her from a mindset standpoint is, if you are on a fixed income, you're actually in the best position than anybody else, because nothing is varying for you. But it means that you still need to put in a plan. You don't want to just only be, continuing to pay out the same amount. This is the time for realignment and readjustment. And I'm sure my banking people that are on will recognize that as well. So I just wanted to make sure that I gave you some tips. So I'm just going to back up, because I did see some people coming on. That one that I gave you is automate as much as possible. The advantages of automating your bills, utilizing the banks or the credit unions that I like to suggest as well. Making sure that that bill payment, that you're putting that in, your late fees will go down or be completely eliminated, number one, but your credit score will also go up. Make sure you identify it on your phone so you're reminding yourself that that bill is coming out. You have to have that budget in place, but also set goals. And you're going to be able to get there. Now, if you feel like you're starting over, we've all been there. We've all been there at some point in time, that circumstances and situations in life have caused us to start over. Some of you know that I have 3 girls, which I love, but my middle daughter, Jasmine, passed away back in 2005. She got sick. She used to have seizures with the onset of illness. And with that in mind, she got pneumonia from her teacher and ended up having to come home. We had all of these issues going on. And so what ended up happening for me is I ended up coming out of corporate America to come home, and we went from 2 incomes down to 1. So I know what it's like to readjust to that. And then in some instances, some of my customers have had some marriage struggles, and they ended up in divorce and starting over. And that does pose a big problem, but it is possible for you to continue to move forward and to succeed. So starting over is no reason for you to feel condemnation, because the Bible says there's no condemnation, but recognize that you have to have a plan as you start going forward. So I'm hoping that some of those tips you'll go ahead and take, and that'll be something that you can look forward to, and you will feel better about your current financial situation. But what I would like to do, and what I'm excited about today, is that I have something that I really want to offer you, even in the midst of us social distancing or physical distancing, if you would. And what I have is what I call the Wisdom Wealth Workshop. Now, I had planned one back in March at the University of South Florida, but of course, with all of what was going on, I ended up canceling because it was early on in March, before we really got into more than 10 people. And I think it's important for us to stay safe and stay well. So what I am doing is I am doing this Wisdom Wealth Workshop virtually. That's right. I'm going to do it on Zoom. I'll be able to help as far as the finances are concerned. And this is what I call I'm working with you. I'm not going to give you a fish sandwich, but I'm going to teach you how to fish. I'm going to go through whoever is in that group. It is a group session. It is, I'm only opening it up for 30 people. So it's only 30 spots. But it will be a virtual workshop. It's 4 hours in length on April the 18th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And guess what? It's only $497. And you probably say, oh, wow, that is so much. But one thing that I have recognized is when I help people and there's no skin in the game or they haven't paid anything into it, then they actually don't follow through on everything. So I am doing you a service by saying, go ahead and pay this, because once you put that down, you're going to commit to it. Now, I promise you, in the midst of all of that, you're going to get a lot of information. I will go through your entire financial situation. We'll talk about mindset at the beginning, because that is going to be one of the big keys that we've got to get out. Now, the mindset has to be set appropriately. The Bible says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And so we're going to change the game and recognize that financial freedom is available, that you can have a secure financial future. But what I am going to do, and let me see if I can share my screen really quick for you. I want you to see some of this, and I'm going to drop the links into the chat as well. I think you can see that. This workshop is going to empower you to have this secure financial future. It is, again, April the 18th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and it is going to be virtual. Now, what you'll get out of this is you're going to visualize this better future and a path to mission accomplished, because we're going to work on that path. Where I'm not going to leave you just say, here's my goals, and that's all that we're going to do. No, we're going to walk through it, whether it is not only your mindset, but we're going to go ahead and deal with your budgeting as well. We're going to talk about those things that I call disruptors, those things that come in and mess up your financial budget, as well as those things that are sabotaging, because I recognize that the world system today is set up in order to take away what we currently have. That's the goal. And so we're going to then put another goal in place and get that kingdom mindset in order to make sure that we move forward and complete mission accomplished. We're going to partner for maximum benefits, increased income, and consistency. I'll talk about the banking system. I typically suggest, as I said before, I don't pay anyone to hold my money, but there's some great connections that we can have with others to recognize that they're going to give us the maximum amount of interest on our money, as well as not charge us those fees for holding our money. We're going to build confidence, as well as I'm going to give you some of the management tools. You're going to realize financial freedom and become an accumulator of wealth. Now, I truly believe in automation, not only for your billing, but automation for your savings as well, and your investment once you get to that point. But what I'd like to do is, in here, I give you Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans, God says, that I have for you, to give you a hope and a future. He's going to give us some peace. Some of the things we cover, we're going to talk about your purpose, because the whole goal of all of this is not for you to just amass a whole lot, but to make a significant impact on the world. I know God's given all of us something that he wants us to do. And when we're generous givers, we're able to impact as many people as possible. We're going to talk about legacy. He says that a good man or woman leaves an inheritance for his or her children's children. And so we're going to plan ahead for the future. I'll talk about those activities that you need to do in order that you maximize your financial future. We'll talk about your nature. Now, this is one that I'm really excited about too, because you've probably seen some of those money personalities out there. Well, I've created biblical financial personalities. And it goes along with the biblical basis, and it gives you scriptural references. And I help you remove the struggle from money management based on how you handle money. Whether you're a STEAM personality, that type of person who wants to always give gifts, and you're doing it because you've got that emotional connection. And you can find this on my website as well. Or if you have what I call a water personality, that's the person that says, why attend to any and every report? They don't want to look at it. Or you could be an ice personality. You've got that strict budget, but you don't entertain any activities outside of it so that you don't have any enjoyment. Or fire personality, financially independent, retiring early. Now, one of the things that is a little different about me is I don't tell you to be on rice and beans in order to get to your financial freedom, because I truly believe that if you are not in a place where you're enjoying what you're doing, you don't have a little bit of fun somewhere along the way, then you're going to become resentful and just sometimes just be discouraged and give up completely. but we're also going to talk about the systems of the world that are sabotaging. So again, it's April the 18th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. But here's some of the bonuses, and that's why I'm excited. The course is $497, and that truly is a third of the cost that I do for those that I help individually for all of that time, and make sure I put as much time and effort into it. But the bonuses for this particular time, because this is my first time doing it on virtual, just for those 30 individuals, I am going to throw in my online class, that Financialopoly. It's a money management online course, call it Financial Wisdom for Financial Freedom. It is valued at $297. I'm giving you that as well. I'm also throwing in the Biblical Financial Personalities course, which is valued at $97. Both of those I sell separately, but you're going to get it all in this one package. I also do a private coaching and Facebook group. And for the entire year, you can ask whatever questions that you have. I will be answering them personally, just to make sure I'm giving you all of the support that you need. Now, I'm telling you, this is going to be on April the 18th, which is only 2 weeks away. But next Saturday, 11:59 p.m., April the 11th, it's going to close. So you're able to then go ahead and purchase up until that point. Now, I will tell you this, if those spots fill up a lot sooner, then it's going to close a lot sooner. But I am excited about being able to offer this and be able to touch so many lives at the same time. So I'm going to drop, I don't know if you guys can see the chat. I'm going to drop in the chat once again that link. If you go to that link, you'll see the same information that I have given you. But I'm excited about what's going on. I just wanted to make sure that I talk to you about, you know, being able to be resourceful, finding some options that you can do a little bit differently, a little tweak, a little pivot in order to feel a little freer as it comes to your finances right now. I believe too, if we fix the economy in our homes, then we're going to fix the economy in the world, in America, as we're living. I recognize that 73% of Americans are dying in poverty. I really do not want that to be you. I want you to have a compelling future, and I want you to have courage to be able to move forward. And so I am offering this so that you'll be able to do that. Please, by all means, I said I wanted to touch 2,020 lives this year. So if you know someone who is in need of this, and this is you, go ahead and register. If you know someone, go ahead and share it. I want to make sure that I touch as many people as possible and help as many as I can in moving forward. And I promised you, I am not going to keep you long. I said 30 minutes, right? And so I'm going to be a woman of my word. I don't see any comments in the chat, but I'm sure there's some questions that you probably have. So let me just think of some. One of them is in this current situation, we look at, you know, paying for things, and we start trying to back off and say, I don't want to pay for it. Well, what I recognize too is that if your finances are jacked up, like we say, you know, we do talk about our finances being totally jacked up. You know, I've got more month than I've got money. Well, if you don't figure out your budget and you don't figure out a plan, it's going to cost you a lot more in the long run. So I am really excited about this, because in going through even the online class, it is a 5-week program that is going to give you a complete blueprint in order to manage your money effectively. It's going to give you all the systems. It's going to give you all the information of what you need to do to change so that you will do something different and get a different result and be in a better position. But it also helps you save on a continual basis, and you will save 3 times the amount of this particular package, even in that first year, if you follow a very simple plan. And I promise you, you'll be able to do that too. But I'm excited, and my time is coming up. I've got 3 minutes left that I said that I was going to stay on. So just as a recap, the offer is this. I am doing the virtual Wisdom Wealth Workshop on April the 18th, which is a Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I know you're going to be at home because we've got that stay-at-home order. So you might as well make it work to your advantage. I'm excited about being able to do that for you. But not only that, if you go ahead and register, I will put you in the class early. If you want to start the online class ahead of time, you're more than welcome to do that. The biblical financial personalities will be available there for you as well. And I will go ahead and get you in that Facebook group so that you will have all the tools necessary even before you start. Now, it is going to be tailored to those 30 people that are in that particular group. I will be answering their questions. So there'll be some areas that we will stay on a lot longer than others. But what my promise is this, is I've got the packet already ready. The spreadsheet's already ready for you to be able to go ahead and start. You're going to get the complete package, regardless of how long it's going to take. I want to make sure that I really serve you as much as possible. And I see a question, how does the Facebook community coaching work? It is a community. It is a private group. I have to go ahead and allow you in it. And in that particular group, I will go in and answer those questions. Whatever questions that you would have. Now, you can instant message me, but you can put it in the group. One thing about community, which is really good, is that you get the encouragement from the rest of the community. It's similar to what we call a mastermind, because others have been in the situations as well. And because they have been in those situations, they might have something that they want to offer. But what I want to make sure that I do, as your biblical management expert, as I claim I am, I make sure I give you answers as well. So you're not going to it's not going to just be the community answering you, but it's going to be me personally as well. I want to make sure that you succeed. That's my goal. That's my heart, as far as it's concerned. And one thing that I did say, I told you that I have a degree in electrical engineering. I jokingly say I don't quite have as many degrees as a thermometer, but I'm getting close. One of the things that I do is I marry not only the systematic side of it, but I also have theological degrees, and I marry both of those. So you're going to get the spiritual in it. And that's why I say I'm a biblical management expert, because I'm going to give it to you God's way. So I thank you guys so much for participating, for being here. I'm excited about what is going to be offered. I'm excited about your financial future and you moving forward. Yes, you're definitely going to be doing that. So I hope I covered everything. But yeah, go out. Recognize that God has a great plan for us. He says, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, neither has it entered into the heart of man the things that he has planned for you. So be blessed as we continue this rest of this Saturday, and have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Bye for now.